All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. Welcome, everybody. My name's Brian Peck. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at Mazévo. And if this is your first Mazévo Connect, welcome. And I know many of you have been to other Mazévo Connects that we have had, so welcome back for that. Hope everybody is off to a good summer right now. We really appreciate everybody showing up today. Looks like we've got a great turnout. Everybody's really interested in all the new features that we've added here to Mazévo. We've got some really cool stuff to show you all. Dean, I know, is just chomping at the bit to show this to you guys and show you some of our handiwork right there. So if you haven't been to one of these before, go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat if you haven't already. We love to see who's here and let us know where you're from. I know everybody likes to see that. But the way we typically do these is that today, Dean is going to be presenting and showing you some of the new features that we've recently added in Mazévo, say over the last 6 months or so. And as we're going through that, we do have everybody muted on the call. So if you have any questions, definitely put them in the chat as we're going through. But also, too, we love the feedback. So if you see something that you're like, oh my gosh, that's really great, or if you're like, oh my gosh, that's horrible, either way, that's fine. You can put it in the chat. We just like to get that feedback because sometimes, we don't always hear from everybody on what they think. So please do share that if you're comfortable. And we are going to save a few minutes at the end, probably about 10 minutes or so at the end also for Q&A. So you at that point too, if you have questions and you prefer to just unmute yourself, we'll let you do that at that point. But anyways, that's kind of how we're going to proceed here today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Dean jump into it. And actually, let me introduce everybody. If you haven't been here before, we do have some other Mazévo folks here as well besides Dean. I've got Claire DeGroat, who's here with me. She helps me out here on the sales side. And then we've got Wendy Newland and Joe Finley. Many of you know one or both of them. They both are our Mazévo trainers. So when people sign up for Mazévo, you're typically working with one of them. And then, of course, our CEO, Dean Evans. So there we go. That's who we have here on the call. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Dean.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming today. I've got a lot of stuff to show you here. And so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing and we'll just kind of jump right in. This and this. I'm going to try to do some advanced sharing here today. I've got two windows because I'm going to kind of flip back and forth between an event planner and a requester. So this is my event planner, and I've logged in here to our little demo system. So hopefully everybody's seen this screen or some variation of it. So the first thing I want to show you that we did here, hopefully everybody on this call knows this, but in case you didn't, we have this little open feature up here. So originally it started as just show me the last few events here. So if I wanted to go on this budget review, these are the last 4 events that I've touched today, right? So if I hit budget review, it opens up that budget review. But there's another way to do this. If you don't know the number or you worked on it yesterday or the day before, it might not be in that little list. This open, we added a couple of things here. So if you come down to, you can search for events based on organization, contact, or event name. So when I come in here to organization, if I just start typing basket weavers and I hit enter, it automatically takes me over to basket weavers and shows me a year's worth of basket weaver events. Why it went to last year is beyond me. Let me do that again. That didn't seem like it was exactly what I wanted. Alumni. Yeah. Search. Anyway, it should not be showing that to you. I've done something, but ultimately what you're seeing here is that you can go in by organization or by contact. If I wanted to look for Brian's events, I can type in that and it's really going to take me over here to find events. And it should be taking me to this month, just like I see right here. And from there, I can open Brian's big event. So just another way to quickly find events based on event name, contact, or organization. besides the default there for organization number. A couple other things here. I'm going to go back to this one event we're going to kind of play with is Jonesville Rotary. It's a pretty good size event here. One of the other features that we added here, we're going to spend some time in the event editor here, is the ability to, you can resize these. And I hope everybody knows that you can sort every column here. But when you resize things, let's say you want more space, there's this button here that says save columns. So that saves the width of your columns. So like right here, I'm not seeing my setup tear down. So I want to widen that a little bit. And if I hit save columns, that'll remember it for the next event I open, and it'll remember it tomorrow. And if I really messed it up, I've done something crazy like this, and I hit save, and I'm like, oh no, what have I done? Well, you can just come in here and hit reset, and it goes back to the standard sizes. Okay. So just a couple of things that you can do there. Let's see here. I want to go like this, move this over, and I'm going to save those. Okay. Couple of other things that we added here. Some of you that use the daily operations reports and the setup or the service order reports. So let me jump out real quick. So a lot of you use this daily operations. Some of you use this service order report. So the service order report basically is you could come in here, and I'll just run it for this week. And I'm going to pick catering. And so it does 1 page per service for the entire week and only catering. Okay. So as we scroll through here, so this was kind of designed, I want to put all my catering on a cart and run down the hall with it and deliver it. So this is a way that you can do that. So that report's always been there. But what we did is if you're in here making changes, and a lot of folks in catering, they're going to always make changes here. So what you want to do is come in here. You could actually pick these 3 bookings. Let me hold those down. And then over here, you have reports and you have service order report. So you can actually come in here, and with just a few clicks, I'm going to get the service orders for those 3 bookings. So you can run it. So now we only have 4 pages, but they're all tied to the Jonesville Rotary event. Okay. And the same thing, if I wanted to run an operations report, whatever you select here for bookings, you can come here to the report and run daily operations, and it's going to show you just those bookings and all of the things on them. So another way of using that operations report. So, all right, let's go back out here. Let's see here, the confirmation. So if I print the confirmation, this is really subtle. It's been there for a while, but you can actually take these and reorder them. So if you had multiple header messages, multiple footer, you can now kind of drag and drop these in the order you want them to be displayed down here. So that's one thing we've added. And at the bottom of the page, we recently added this. So right here in the corner, let me zoom in so you can see it. I seem to be too click happy today. Right here is the event number. So that's going to show in the footer on each page with the date and time it was printed and who printed it. So just another little creature comfort that we've added in there. One other thing, and I should have just shown you when I was on that confirmation. But occasionally we have customers that do not like the word room charge. And I think everybody on this call, when they run a confirmation or when they run analytics or stuff, it always comes up room charge. We now have the ability to change that for your entire tenant. Now it's across everything. So we've had somebody want that to be called facility use fee rather than room charge. So if you really have discomfort with that term, let us know and we can change it. And it goes through confirmations and invoicing, and wherever the word room charge, it'll change it for you. So kind of keep that in mind. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about email. So one of the things we did this year is we kind of tuned up our email capability and how we send out emails. And I mean, that's just in the plumbing of Mazévo. And I mean, you really don't care. But the reason we did that is we now have the ability to track, was there a bounce on an email and when was it delivered? So this is an email that I sent out. I sent this confirmation out, and it's actually showing you each one of the recipients. When I hover over that green envelope, it shows you that the recipients and when it was delivered. It doesn't tell you that it was opened, right? But it tells you it was delivered. And this red one is telling you it bounced. So I had a bad email address. And if you look at the upper thing in that tooltip, jerry.smith@Mazévo, that email doesn't exist. So it actually bounced when it went off. So this is an indication that, something went horribly wrong on that. So they didn't get your email because you might have mistyped it. So one other thing we did here, and why we changed kind of our engine for emailing, is we can turn on this special event email address. Now we have to turn this on for your tenant. And what it is it's really this prefix right here. So we've turned it on for our demonstration tenant, and it's called Demo 1. But it creates a unique address for every single event. And so I'm on event M8936. The email is Demo1 M8936 at Mazévo. Why is that important? Well, if you're looking at, let's say you're an event planner and you had an email that came from the customer and you went, gosh, I'd really like to tie that to my event, right? Rather than typing notes over here in event notes. Well, what you can do is, if in your email, if you take that email that you got from your customer and forward it to this email address, it'll automatically grab that email and add it down here as an email on this event. And when you click on the message, it pulls it up, and it pulls up all of the description of that email. Okay. It can actually have attachments on it. And if there were attachments, they'd show right here, and you can actually click on those and see them. So we only have a few people that have turned this on. Super easy to turn on. And all we do is we ask you, what do you want this prefix to be, right? And it would kind of tie with, your customer name right up here at the top. But let us know, just send us an email at support and we can turn that on for you. But the idea was try to make it really simple. So you can literally click on this email, because if you have the event open and you're looking at your email, maybe you want to take and forward that email. So if you click on that, it copied it to your clipboard. So you flip your screen to your email, paste it in there on the forward, and off it goes. So let us know if you want that turned on. It's a slick little feature for getting stuff in there so you don't have to retype it. So one other change we made here, let me go back out to the main menu and add new event. I think everybody has seen this, but when you pick an organization here, you can pick your contact. And now what we've done is optionally prompt you for a second contact here. So notice that I'm not in that list because I picked myself as the primary, but I can pick Brian here. And then if I go down and do a billing contact, I can put PJ in here as the billing contact. So I have the ability to add those as I'm going through creating a new event. So really the change was these two things got thrown on there. So, okay, let's see here. A couple of changes that we made to the organization record. We know a lot of you, some of you actually want to have a certificate of insurance and things like that. And there's really no great place to put it. You can put it on the event. You can add a document and upload it to the event. But something like a certificate of insurance with a customer that does multiple events with you, it might be better to put that over here on the organization record. So when you come in to an organization, you have this document tab right here. Looks like the document tab on events, and you can literally add a document. It can be an attachment or a link to a document, and you can upload it. Thinking that it was going to be a certificate of insurance, we put this expiration date on here, and it's actually a column here on this. So if you lay in multiple documents, you'd be able to see, oh, is it going to expire and things like that. So the ability to add documents. I'll point out one other thing here over on on the first screen here, this has been there for quite some time, organization alert. So this is an alert message that when you pick this organization, you'll see the alert as you're going through the process. Just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. That's been there for a while. And if you've got a kind of a customer that you really don't want to deal with much anymore, maybe they owe you money. If you hit this prevent new events, then they won't be able to, nobody will be able to create a new event for this particular organization until you uncheck that. So it's another way to turn that off. One other thing we just recently added was right in here. If you always have the same billing contact for this organization, you can set that right here. So Claire is the default on this. So every time I add a new organization for the Alumni Association, if I don't specify a billing contact, it'll put Claire on there as the billing contact automatically as I'm going through the event process. So there's one other thing in here. If you find that you have duplicate organizations, you know, as you're looking through the list, and it's hard to see these because again, this is very short. Some of you have hundreds, if not thousands of organizations in here. So to find duplicates is kind of tough. So what we did is add a little filter option up here to say show duplicates. And when you do that, it filters down to say, well, here's the duplicates that you have. And from here, you really want to get rid of one of these. But what you'd want to do is, well, which one has events and which one doesn't, or maybe they both have events. So you can click on this and see what their events are, the past and the current ones, right? So there's a ton of events here. So I really don't want to get rid of that one. But maybe this other one, maybe we can get lucky here. Oh, well, they don't have events. So this would be a candidate to just delete. Okay. And I can delete that. Now, if you try to delete it and there's events out there, it's going to say it's not going to let you delete it. Now, my screen went blank here because I still have my filter on, and that was the only duplicate that I had. So as you're working through the list is going to get smaller and smaller. Again, just a little creature comfort there to help find some of those duplicate organizations. So, all right. Reports, a couple of things we've done in reports. Let's start small and we'll go to analytics. I know everybody uses analytics. You got to love analytics. We're going to come in here and run. Normally, you're going to, I mean, a lot of people use the room and the organization and stuff. If you scroll down this list, there's one we snuck in, put it at the bottom, event origin. And so when I run this, it's going to tell me who created the event. Did it come from an event planner? Did it come from a requester? Or did it come from the room sign? And the room sign might be something new for everybody, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it tells you how did that event get put in the system? Okay. So I know you know, this is probably a bad mix here. You want to kind of make sure that you have more requesters doing all the work for you. But again, you can filter that out here right in this analytics. So that's a new option that we put in. And you could also do that by hours and attendance and revenue. You can see, well, where's all of that coming? However you want to slice that, you can do that. So analytics. Oh, one of the other things we did there on a couple of these reports, we found a lot of people come in here and do something crazy like this. And it's not really that crazy. If you wanted to run your, 2 years worth of data, it may take a while, but in the past, there was some errors. It may not return any data. But now I feel totally confident that if I say, go get me 2 years worth of data, it's going to do that. And so there's my split right there. But actually, if you take a look at this, I mean, it brought back 6,000 bookings for me in just a few minutes. So again, we've kind of tuned up some of the performance and making sure that you get all of that data back. So that's mostly on reports, but it's also on find events that we did that same thing. So if you needed to grab a really large date range, you can, and you'll get some results. Now, it may take a while. Okay. It didn't, when you're going through 6,000, that's pretty small. Some of you would probably come back with 100,000 bookings there. So anyway, so that's performance. A couple of little things here. I forget, somebody that was heavy into operations wanted this, but they wanted to be able to run, and I'll just show you this week. Let's see if I get some data up here. Okay, so I've got that. Let's see, here's some trash cans and things like that. But what they wanted to be able to do is filter by resource tags. So if I come in here and I want to say, I want to see all of my microphones that were in use. And let me expand this because I know there's some this month, but you can actually use resource tags there. So your AV folks, maybe your catering folks, have some special equipment that they want to see when it's in use. So you could create a tag for those specific resources. And then this would pull up those events and those bookings that would have those microphones on them. So you're seeing microphone, handheld mic, those are all in my resource tag that I put together. So, and just so you know, just in case you don't know where that is. So over here on resources, so I went into settings, and then your tags are right here. And then what you would do is you're going to add a tag, and you're going to pick the resources you want and save it. And that's how you create a tag. Pretty easy. Same thing on rooms, would be the same thing. So resource now, best for last here on reports, published reports. A couple of things we've done in here is subscriptions. So we've had the ability to send an email link to somebody for quite some time. And basically that's going to take, and I want to send this to another Mazévo user. So if I want to send that to Chris, that's going to send Chris a link to this report right here, customer revenue last month. The difference here is you have to look at the owner of the report. If you are the owner of the report, you'll get this little icon here called Manage Subscriptions. And when you click on that, it's going to pull up essentially every user in your system that's a event planner or operations user. It's not going to pull up a requester. And you can actually subscribe them. So if I wanted to subscribe Claire to this, I can do that, and I can pick the days of the week. Now, this is part of the new feature is what days of the week do you want to send her the report? So you could say, oh, I only want it on Mondays. So you uncheck these and hit save. And now Claire's subscribed to this every Monday morning. She'll get that report. If I wanted to unsubscribe Claire or unsubscribe Chris, I just simply unsubscribe, and it takes Chris's out of there. So you can pick and choose who you want to send it to. Now, that manage is only available if you're the owner of the report. If you're not the owner, you can subscribe to it and do the same thing. I want it which days of the week, but the owner is the only one that can manage the entire list of users there. Okay, so we used to just send that every day, Saturdays and Sundays included. So it might be nice if you went in there and kind of tune that up for some of your users. So, all right, now I'm going to jump over to requesters, and I'm hoping you're seeing my Google browser here. And I've logged in here, same database as a requester. The one thing we've done is, since this is probably the most public facing component that you have, we've concentrated on making this as accessible to those users with disabilities and screen readers and things like that. So you've seen that in some of our release notes, but these are the tools that we've really focused on the most for accessibility to try to make it squeaky clean with that. So yeah, if you wanted to run this with a screen reader, it would absolutely work with a screen reader. Let's see, one other thing here, the event book. So I'm logged in here as a requester that can make requests. And if the other mode of that is to have a requester that's view only. So if you were a view only, you wouldn't get add new requests. And then until we added this new feature, you didn't get the event book, right? So the new feature is you can now expose the event book to a view-only requester. Now, the way you would do that is you're going to come over here. I'm going to flip back into the administrator and kind of show you that. So I'm going to go in here to a user, and here's my requester right here. And so you can see I'm a requester, but now when I flip this to view events, this is what changed. This is the thing we added. So now you're going to let them see things in the book based on this particular policy. If I get rid of that, they won't see the book as a view-only requester. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm not going to do that because I'm in there on that other screen, but you can control whether they see the book or not by that security policy that you assign to them. Okay. Let's go into the event book. There's a couple of things we've done here. So if I scroll out to tomorrow, by default, we don't show you any details. The requester doesn't get to see any details on these events. However, if it's their event and they're a contact on the event, we show them the name of their event, but we're not going to. So that's my event that I've got here, but I don't know who's in Bellator Gallery. I can't click on it. I can't click on anything here. It's just kind of a little convenience that we're going to show you. We're going to kind of highlight your events there. The other thing we've done, well, let me just, I'm going to give you a little editorial. The vast majority of requesters had no idea that we turned on this event book, and that's been on for several months. Okay. And it's a great way to go in and see availability, you know, of events and things like that. The other thing we did here is we put in this little green plus sign right here. This is quick add for the requester. So if they come on here and click this, it assumes the next half an hour increment, and they literally type in an event name, event type, and the organization and attendance. And they hit continue, and it'll ask them the event questions and ask for services, and off it goes. So they don't have to go through the whole add new request process if they're looking for one room on a given day. So if I scroll out here, you know, to Monday, and I see this and I'm like, well, I want the all-purpose room. Well, it's going to make that reservation for Monday, 1:30 to 2:30. Now I can change those times, right? And it's going to enforce all of the policy rules that this requester has tied to it. So you can't create an event in a room that you don't have access to, or the rules, you know, say you can't book that close or that far out. So all of your security rules are enforced here. So it's a handy little way of doing that. So, all right, so quick add, let's see here. Let's go back to my events. So I'm in here, I'm a requester. Here's my events. One thing I don't know that anybody, we kind of snuck this in. So if I go in here to edit this event, there's a couple of things up here. There's a request summary. So this looks like a confirmation. And when I click on this, this has been here for a long time. Just want to bring it to your attention. It's going to show you the request. And again, it looks much like a confirmation, although we use the booked and pending statuses here rather than confirmed or tentative or whatever. So we're kind of still using the statuses that the requesters see. So that's one thing. The other thing is they can add this to their calendar. So this will download an ICS file for them that if they click on that, they can add these 3 bookings to their personal calendar. So that's in there as well. So, okay. Got it. Okay, one other thing we've done here for requesters. This is a big one. You can copy an event. So a requester can go to past events, come over here and say, well, I want to copy my chess matches. Hit copy, tell me the new starting date. And now again, it's not going to let you copy it to the past, so you have to scroll forward. And I'll say, well, I want to move it to the 10th. I select that. And it comes up. It says 1 booking will be copied. If you have multiple bookings on there, it would show them all. And if it's only going to show you the ones that are available, and it'll kind of tell you. So that's what this is saying, is like if you couldn't get the space, It's not going to double book anything. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have to answer the questions. So all of the resources and all of the bookings automatically come across. And then all they have to do is answer the questions that you would have normally asked had they created this new event. So that's a huge, huge feature. And I'll show you how you set that up. So over here in settings, it's based on your security policy. So when you go into security, you come in here on that standard security policy. Doesn't matter what it's called, right? I'm just picking, this is the one I'm using. Under options, allow copy event. Now these are all turned off by default. You'll have to go turn them on. But when you check that box, any user that's tied to this security policy will then be allowed to copy events, past events into the future. Okay, and all the resources, all the bookings come if it can get the space. If it's trying to, if it's double booked, it's going to throw out the bookings. So it'll copy what it can and leave the others behind. Okay. And then while we're here, this is a new feature we've turned on here. Show the billing code and is it required? So we have a few people. I'm going to go back to my requester, come back over here, add new request. This is the billing code right here. So again, if you want to prompt them for their account code or whatever it's called, whatever you call it, this billing code, it can be put in right here. And you can even make it, required that they have to key that in. Again, that there was a checkbox there. Do I prompt for it? And if I do, is it required? So you can kind of control that. We know a lot of people put this in as an event question, but you might take a look at putting this in just using our built-in feature. It's handy from the standpoint, we take whatever you key in here into this billing code, and we're going to put it in. Let me open that Jonestown policy up here. We're going to put it in the billing code right here. So we automatically put it there. And that billing code is going to be on your revenue analytics, and it'll be on your invoice and things like that. So it's a better place to park that rather than an event question. So kind of keep that in mind, that you can configure that. So. Okay, let's see, where am I on my list? Billing code, requester. How to turn on copy. All right, so let's go back over here to settings. Look at a few things we've changed here. And I think you guys have seen these. We renamed, we're doing a little cleanup. This used to be called approvals. And now we've kind of renamed it to secondary approvals. It makes it a little clearer when, if you're looking for campus safety to approve something, it's really what we're calling a secondary approval. So we've kind of cleaned up the terminology on that. One other thing in settings that we've done here under users, we've got a note field that you can put in here. You can put anything in that note field you want. It's right here. Coming in the release tomorrow morning is the ability when a new user comes through SSO or a new user requests an account for you. The people that have the account request turned on, so they're not SSO, but they let external people request an account. This is where they would type in, what organizations are you booking on behalf of? And so we've kind of enhanced that whole process, but this is where that note that they type in will end up. So, but that'll come tomorrow on that. A couple other little things we've done here, scheduled emails. We've added a new trigger type in here, so you can actually say, I want to schedule an email based on organization type. So if you want to send your student population, a survey specific to their student groups, you could do that versus the faculty. So you can just use this to kind of slice and dice how those scheduled emails go out. So, and again, they can go out before or after the event, or you can go out before each booking. Okay. So you got to be careful with this option because you will send a lot of emails out. If you had a week-long event, it would send out 5 emails, one for each booking. So caution with that one. It can be a great reminder to them that they have something booked, but it can also be, might upset them. So use that with caution. All right. One thing to kind of, there's a few of you on the call here today that use room signs. So it's digital signage that might be outside your room that displays the events. And so just for everybody's knowledge, we have a built-in room sign web page that you can display on the room sign. So the ones we hear a lot are Crestron, Idea, and Visix. They can actually use our native web page and go and have that displayed on the room sign. So you can kind of control that. If you want more detail on that, just reach out to us. We'll happily show you that. But we know a lot of people have Crestron signs. If it's a newer vintage Crestron sign, if it's 5 years old, it's probably not going to work. But if it's a couple of years old, they have the ability to put this URL in there, and that's how we hook up on a Crestron. So that's available to you. But what we've done is on these room signs, some people wanted to force the customer, the user, requester, to check into their event. Okay, so back in the old EMS days, we saw this a lot in hoteling, but we see it a lot in self-service spaces in the university market. We've got a couple libraries that are doing this today, where they're actually using the room sign to book space. So that's another feature you can turn on this room sign. So you can actually have them create an event right from the room sign. Now, traditionally, the way we envisioned that originally was they're going to scan a QR code on their phone and complete the event on their phone through the Mazévo mobile app. But another thing we've turned on here is the ability to just create an event just right on the fly. So you really, at this point, you kind of lose all your statistics, but you could literally, if you don't really care who's booking the space, but you want them to hit a button saying, hey, I want to use the room for an hour, you can do this unauthenticated booking that's there. The other thing you can do on the room sign is you can force them to check in. Okay. So it's kind of like a no-show tool. So if you want people that are using these rooms that have room signs, you can turn on this feature where when they walk up to the sign, they can say, I want to check in, and it flags it and lets it go. If they don't check in, and you can set the time frame, it'll actually cancel the event in there so that somebody else can book the space. Now, you kind of want to use that for, it's really only good in a self-service application. So, and again, we see a lot of libraries use this for study space where they don't, there's no approval process. It actually just books it in a confirmed status. So if you want to kind of remind them that, hey, you booked this, you need to check in or we're going to no-show you, which really is just, that's lingo for cancel it, so somebody else could come up and use it. So we've got all of that built into our room sign app. So and the last few things I want to talk about are operations. So the one thing we've done here, let's go back and use my little Jonesville rotary here. When you do messaging here, so the folks on the call that use messaging, this originally started as an event planner talking to or communicating, chatting, texting with a requester. But we have since opened it up to where you can actually start texting or chatting with operations people. So in this list, you're going to see other event planners and anybody that's an operations person. So if I wanted to send Claire, and you can see she's on the operations only, I can send Claire a message and it'll come in here and I can start typing, hey, Claire, now it's tied to this event, right? So I've got the Jonesville, event up here. So when Claire sees this message, it's going to be tied to this event. So, hey, Claire, do something. And now that's sent that off. Claire's going to get that. When she opens up her event, she's gonna see that in her alert bell, and it would alert her that she's got a message, and she could drill right into this event and see this and respond to it. So you can have conversations with other people other than the requester. So we've opened this up to operations people. I'll just kind of throw this out there as a question, kind of throw it in the chat if you like it or you hate it, but we've had somebody ask that they want the operations people to be able to communicate with the requester or the customer. And that makes me a little nervous, but we'd obviously make that an option. But feel free to chime in on the chat and let us know, hey, we'd love that, or oh no, that's a bad idea. The event planners are the only ones currently that can send messages back and forth to the requester. But we're thinking about opening that up for operations. So let me know what you think of that idea. So now let's jump over to the real operation. So I'm in here, I'm an operations manager. It's a real simple little process here. If I come over here to settings, I'm a manager. So I can set my filtering here for statuses, buildings, and service providers. And this is where an operations manager would select, well, who's on their staff, right? So I've got Chris Jones, and I'll say I've got Chris Myers on my staff. Well, what that allows you to do now is whatever your settings are here, because it's really hard. It's a kind of a pain to teach your staff, oh, we'll go set these settings up. Well, what you can do now is right here is this copy, and you can actually copy your settings onto your staff members. Now, these are my staff that I had selected. And when I hit share, it's going to take my settings, my filters, and assign it to Chris Jones and Chris Myers so that they don't have to set it. And boom, that's just that easy. So that's a nice thing for a manager with a new user to be able to set up their settings and get the filtering right. That'll help them with that. The other thing we've done in here, we ripped out one feature that nobody really knew how to use, and we've replaced it. So what that feature was show me last minute changes. So we automatically do it. We're going to show you anything in here. We're going to highlight it that it was changed within the last 14 days. And we put this little icon up here that, hey, it's been changed. And so you would be able to see changes, just kind of brings that to your attention. That was what the original review, there was a checkbox here to review it. And there's only like literally out of all of you users out there, there's only probably 5 of you that ever did review on events. So that's been taken out and replaced, but we just kind of automatically do it here. So if I go in here, it should be showing, and I apparently don't have it. So it's saying the setup type is new. So it's going to highlight what was changed in the last 14 days. So if somebody added a resource or changed the setup, it's going to show you that as well. So, and with that, I've gone through my list. Now I'm going to tease you for a minute before we go to questions and answers and a little Q&A here. But the next release going out tomorrow morning, bright and early, a couple of things just to bring to your attention. This little icon is going to change, and we've got a new improved resource center that you'll see tomorrow that you can go in there. If nobody's ever clicked on that, there's a couple nice links here. You can see the product updates. Most of you glance at that for about 2 seconds, and then you close it and you contact us. So just some little things to know are there. So that's coming tomorrow. In security, we've made a few changes. Now I can't show it to you because I'm in the live system. So that's why I'm teasing you. Users, currently, if you're an event planner, you can only take the event planning rules down to a building tomorrow morning, you'll be able to take that down to room tags, so a collection of rooms. So there'll be a new option up here called security tags, and that's how you group these rooms, and you can apply that to event planners. So there's some KB articles out there we've already got on that. But again, event planner security can now go down to something smaller than a building. And on that note, if you're an event planner today, you can only open up an event. This is probably frustrating. I know there's somebody on this call. You can only open up an event if you had access to every single booking on the event. We've opened that up. So if let's say there's 2 buildings and I'm in building 2, but I have an event that crosses those 2 buildings, today you can't open it. Tomorrow you will be able to open it, but you'll only be able to touch the bookings in the buildings or rooms that you control and have been granted security to. So it's kind of a big deal. Again, if you don't have access to any of the rooms on the book on the event, you can't open it. But if you have 1 or more, you'll now be able to open it. And if you're restricted, you won't be able to edit the event. So if, again, going back to my building 1 and my building 2 example, let's say I'm a building 2 event planner and it crosses both of those buildings. Well, I'm not going to be able to change the customer on that event because I don't have privileges to all of those. So that's coming tomorrow. And then we've done a few things to requester security, that again, trying to make it easier. So there'll be some things in there that are coming. We've made some aesthetic changes to the mobile component. So as you're looking at things on your mobile phone in the browser, okay, you'll see it's cleaned up. It's our browser-based version, which is where we want everybody to move to versus the native app, has been cleaned up and they look almost identical. So if you're heavy ops user and you're using the native mobile phone app, we'd encourage you to start moving towards the browser-based app on your phone, whether it's Google or Android or iPhone. We'd want you to go over there. Towards the end of this year, we're going to kind of deprecate the native part because we've spent all this effort to make the browser look very good on a phone. So, and I think that's it. I'm at the end of the list. We have a few minutes for questions.
Yeah. So go ahead. People have been keeping me busy in the chat, which has been great. So I've gotten some good feedback that way from everybody, been answering some questions. But if you do have a question and you just prefer to unmute yourself or want to explain something, now would be a great time to do that. Also, if you have any ideas for us, I know several of you had some good ideas and I was making some notes of those, but anything that you're like, oh man, I wish I could do X, Y, or Z, this would be a perfect time to share that. Right. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything there. So we appreciate everybody showing up today. I'm working on getting next month's Mazévo Connect scheduled. I think I don't have it fully nailed down yet, but we're going to be focusing on integrations next month. And that seems to be a hot topic for a lot of people. And sometimes people are curious about the different ways Mazévo can interact with other systems and some of our partners and what they can do. So stay tuned for that. I'll be sending out some information once I get that nailed down. But yeah, other than that, does anybody else have any last feedback for us or anything you want to share before we wrap things up? Awesome. Well, We appreciate everybody's participation today. Thank you so much. It was great to see you all on the call. And yeah, hope to see you again here soon. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.